We're here with a professor in an undisclosed location, somewhere in Mexico-ish, Mexico.
South America, Central.
And
South Central America.
we're here to talk about your car. We're here to talk about this pretty special car, in my opinion. I'm sure in yours as well. It's your car after all.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it, and then, well, just tell us the story. How'd you get it? And yeah.
All right. Well, I was a little shit, and my brother liked cars, and so I naturally liked cars. Wanted an Evo, and this is basically the two-door Evo 3, essentially. Bought it for $1,100 with bent valves, broken timing belt. Fixed that and went through a whole ton of different mods. At one point had a 2.3 stroker fully built. Now it has the original stock bottom end built head, 20G turbo, stock transmission, 200,000 miles strong.
Nice.
Tuned on 19 pounds of boost. It made 310 on the dyno. And a couple days we're getting it retuned at about 23, 24 pounds, and we're hoping to hit 385 or more, hopefully. Speed density setup, tile 44 millimeter wastegate, Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator, Evo 8 valve springs, Evo 8 timing belt. Yeah,
Nice.
pretty basic bolt-ons, but I mean, you don't really need to touch internals until you get over 500. So I'm hoping to get a PPG dog box, and as soon as that happens, we'll put the stroker back in it because that transmission can handle the torque.
And you said this transmission's got 200,000 miles on it? How many miles are on the car?
207,000.
When's the last time you seen an Eagle Talon?
What's an Eagle Talon? What are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, full 3-inch. Definitely has a catalytic converter in there. Dodge Stealth non-turbo front brakes. I believe a Honda Civic shift knob that adds about 30 horsepower. Stock second gen wheels. There was a point in time where I decided I was going to strip the car and race it, and as parts got harder to come by, I decided to go to a junkyard and get an interior and put it back in and keep it as stock as possible.
Very cool. We should take it for a test drive, no?
Yeah.
All right, let's do
That's
that.
what it's for. All right, 1990 Eagle Talon. First year, first gen A. Differences between the 91 are transmission, transfer case, cruise control, ECU, oil cooler. The 90 came with an external oil cooler. Yeah, so transmission parts are hard to come by. 1 year only transmission and transfer case.
Between the 90 and 91, you're saying?
Yep.
Wow. Because 92 was like a mid-cycle refresh, right? Wasn't it?
Yes, 92 is the first gen B. That's where they got rid of the pop-ups. They changed the spoiler. This is a wraparound spoiler from the mirrors all the way back. The first gen Bs start at the back of the doors, right at the B pillars.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but a lot of people like those better. I kind of like the wraparound and the pop-ups. The nostalgic look for me. So we're just gonna do a little cruise and give the people what they want. All the cute turbo sounds.
Turbo sounds are where it's at. Wow, passing in the bike lane. It's awesome.
Yeah. But naturally, these were the very popular street cars that nobody gave enough credit to, and now they've basically disappeared and been forgotten about, except for stubborn masochists like myself that just like the abuse of finding hard to find rare parts and babying it so that it stays off the jack stands.
Understandable. It's what happened in the 90s, you know. It's what, 30 some odd years old now?
33 years old. It's an 89 production, 89 build, 90 model year. So one of the first models to actually come out of the factory. But
parts for these are probably pretty hard to come by now.
Yeah, Mitsubishi decided to discontinue production of a lot of essential parts like weather stripping. I believe you can only get aftermarket timing belt tensioners at this point. Discontinued the oil filter housings. Discontinued a lot of the transmission gears.
That happens in the Honda world too.
Yeah, but Honda has enough aftermarket desire for companies to make their own gear sets, and the talent as well. But for a dog box, it's an expensive transmission, but it's $8,000. Whereas back in the day, you could get a dog box for like $2,000.
Really?
At this point, it's just kind of a one-off car, and you pay for it. I'm trying to think of what other parts you just can't get anymore. Oh, rear brake calipers. Good luck finding first-gen all-wheel drive rear brake calipers. Even aftermarket, they don't exist. So much so that there are people who are cutting their own out of billet and doing that, because if one freezes up, you're shit out of luck.
Wow.
I had it happen, and I got lucky because I found it cheap. One of the last aftermarket ones on Rock Auto or something, and it looks like garbage. It looks like they milled it out of cast iron. They didn't even mill it. Okay, so they cast it, but the casting is just so simple and blocky, it looks like a piece of a billet chunk. But it works, and there's nothing worse than, well, there's a few things worse, but it sucks when your rear brake caliper freezes up and it starts to drag and get hot, and then melts your brake line, and
yeah, that's no bueno.
Yeah. So
that's definitely, you're kind of preaching to the choir as far as I'm concerned, because, you know, I think I know the struggle's real, you know, with a 30-year-old car, finding parts for it. A lot of times, nice.
So there is a little bit of phantom knock. That's another thing, is the knock sensors in these are hard to find, and the whatever epoxy they fill it with, it starts to just kind of degrade and ooze out, and then having your balance shafts deleted makes it think there's a little bit of knock, so it pulls timing, and when it does that, you let off the gas a little bit, let it get its head right, and then you get back into it, and you can really feel your timing kind of go back to its advanced state, and your power's back.
I see. Well, it seems to pull pretty strong here. How much boost are you running?
So right now on the 20G Turbo, we have 19 pounds of boost, which is what they tuned it at. My boost gauge maxes out at 20, so I'm assuming they tuned it to 19, just because my gauge was the limiting factor. But the 20G really, its happy spot is about 24 pounds. So I think if I could get into the 23, 24 pound range, it'll stop creeping. Because right now I had it tuned and I had a little boost leak, and so it would hold 19 pounds steady. But now that I fixed the boost leak, it hits 19 and immediately starts creeping. And one time I hit the overboost fuel cut at 21 pounds, and so this road is perfect for my 200,000 mile old suspension.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it. That's great.
So I hit the overboost fuel cut and decided to turn the boost down to like 14. It was winter time, and so it wanted to creep pretty aggressively. Now that it's late or early fall and the temperatures are a bit higher, I turned it up to 17. And if you redline it, it'll still hit 21. But I don't really redline it as often on the streets. But yeah, I think 17 and it creeps up to 20 is all right. But in a couple of days, we're gonna get a new boost gauge. It'll max out at 30 pounds. And we're gonna get it retuned. We'll see what it puts down on 19 pounds. 19 pounds, it put down 310, but that was with a boost leak, so who really knows what it puts down if it held 19. I have an external wastegate, but the way I understand it is it's off a stock second gen manifold, off of the number 4 cylinder runner, and the fact that it's kind of off of one runner, it doesn't really, let enough exhaust go around the turbo. So you've still got 3 runners going through the turbo, 3 cylinders worth of exhaust going through the turbo. But if we get the 20G into its happy spot, 23, 24 pounds, I don't think we'll need to waste as much exhaust around the turbo, so it should hold steady. But,
yeah, it seems to pull pretty good. It's healthy.
It's just like half throttle. You can definitely tell once the boost starts creeping and the RPMs hit 4,000, 4,500 that it starts to get really happy. I call this my slow car just because anything under that, if someone's passing you or someone gets the jump on you, you got to downshift, get into the RPM range, spool that 20G, and I mean, typically you can catch them, but it's definitely got a bit of lag if you're not ready. When I had the stroker in there, I had fully built head with, I didn't realize at the time because they were used, but they were reground cams. So one of my lifters popped out one time, broke my secondary valve spring, and the car sat for a couple years because I didn't have the money or the garage to work on it. And I ended up dropping it off at English. They pulled the valve cover, saw the garbage cams, threw those in the trash, put stock cams in, and they put the Evo 8 valve springs and retainers in. So it still has stainless steel valves, hardened valve seats. The head's built other than cams, essentially. Fidanza cam gears on it. They're just at standard timing. They're not tuned at all, but they came with the built head when I bought it, so we'll see. I'm sure that I could tune those and kind of get rid of my lag time a bit, but
yeah,
we just haven't got there yet. As with all cars, it's always a never-ending process of upgrade this, and now that's kind of the weak link in your system, and upgrade that, and you reach the next weak link. And
it never ends.
once you finally get it balanced, something breaks, and you upgrade it, and then you're off again.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, like, I drive the Rex kind of careful too. Like, I don't redline it everywhere. I don't, I feel what you're saying. It's an old car. You want to be kind of nice to it.
Yeah, I'm torn between upgrading parts like the transmission bottom end so that it'll last a long time, but then it's hard not to turn up the boost to utilize what you built.
Yeah, of course.
But I think I have a pretty good idea of where I'd like to stop, but once you get there, who knows?
Do you think you'll keep this car forever?
I don't think I could sell it. I've pulled the engine too many times. The only other people that have worked on this car other than me are English, and that was twice. Once for a tune and once for the valve springs. I mean, other than that, it's been me, and you can never get not just your money back, but your time back. It's just worth it to sit in the garage even.
Do you think if most people knew how much work goes into something like this, that they would do it?
Probably not. I think that's what's happening. A lot of people get these cars. All you see on the forums and on Facebook in the DSM groups are kids who are like, hey, what do I need to do to get 600 horsepower in my daily? Like, that's my goal. I don't want anything crazy, just 600 horsepower daily. And I'm thinking to myself, do you understand that you need everything, essentially, to have a 600 horsepower street car that you could daily just drive whenever? You need everything. Like, you can run a stock bottom end for a while, but you're going to need everything. Your transmission is not going to last very long. Your diff's not going to last very long. Your rear end's not going to last very long. You're going to need to get a 3000 GT rear end. You're going to need to get a tube, diff carrier. You're going to need everything. And people just want, what turbo will support 500 horse? And they don't really think.
Just slap that in and call it a day.
Yeah, and 500 or 600 horse on the street, people don't realize that you start to get the situation that I'm in with a huge turbo. It's not as usable as you think. If someone gets the jump on you, you need to be a lot faster to catch them. It's not that their car's faster, it's that it's quicker off the jump. So if they sneak up on you and take off, you're downshifting, you're getting into the power band, building boost. Now this car only has 300 horse, and it might have close to 400 once we rebuild or once we get it tuned. But still, a 600 horsepower car, 500 horsepower car, your lag is going to be insane. It's going to be way worse. You're looking at building boost at 4,000 RPM. So it almost takes the fun away to have a 500 or 600 horsepower car. You're better off, with 400. I feel like for the streets, and even that, like I said, I'll have close to 400, and I'm already looking at with a dog box, which is overkill. But these transmissions, especially the 1 year only 90 transmissions, you can't find them. Randomly, you'll see maybe a 90 GSX or TSI in a junkyard in California if you want to go pull the transmission and transfer case out. Other than that, I mean, you're kind of hosed. You can't even find basically the Evo 3 gear sets, which are what they used to rebuild these transmissions with to make them stronger. That would be like your stage 1 transmission. You can't even find those anymore because they discontinued them. Yeah. So to get an upgraded transmission rebuild, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to get a stock rebuild transmission. I mean, they used to, like the double second gear synchros don't exist anymore. So it's almost worth it to spend, the $8,000 to $10,000 on a dog box just so that you don't go through 2 or 3 $3,000 transmission rebuilds if you can find the parts. And
yeah,
you can't run a stock transmission even right now I'm on borrowed time with 300 horse. And I don't launch it. I don't redline it very often. I mean, I drive it, but I'm very conservative about pressure on the transmission. I let it shift. I put the pressure on it and it falls into gear. I don't put any pressure on it. I double clutch every downshift. So I'm definitely aware of the transmission's limitations, and that's why I wasn't too quick to put the stroker back in, because more torque would end this transmission, and I have one spare in unknown condition. Came out of a junkyard car, so I think I'm going to take my spare and have it converted to a dog box, and then I'll probably just get my morning coffee and come out into the garage and look at the car and pat myself on the back, and then get in the Tesla and go to work or whatever.
That's half of it, isn't it? Just seeing it in the garage brings a smile to your face. Well, thanks for the ride. This was cool. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the goal is to keep it off the jack stands, keep it out of the junkyard.
I keep thinking I need to take my seatbelt off, but you open the door in this thing and it just comes off.
Pop-up headlights and automatic seat belts.
This is pretty cool.
Which is the funny thing is you still have to do the lap belt manually. So you'd think that they could have just done the traditional style where they're together, but you undo that. That's the e-brake, not the door. And yeah, it'll let you out.